Yo, how's everybody doing? It's the Hockey Regime here, and today we are starting up our annual roster breakdown videos with the 2017-2018 roster breakdown of the Oakland Raiders in this upcoming NFL year. As you guys know in the past, if you guys have been around here, you guys know how incredibly successful I've been with these videos in terms of views, likes, just lots of feedback from people on YouTube watching these videos and viewers like you guys. So definitely want to try and keep that up. Last year we hit over 10,000 views if I'm not mistaken and like 60 or something likes, so it'd be phenomenal if we could end up breaking that and surpassing that. I don't know if it's Oakland that you guys have crazy fans, but the fans for the NFL as a whole are crazy, and they're really supportive of their individual organizations. That's why we are starting off with one of the greatest fan bases in the league and greatest organizations in the Oakland Raiders in NFL history. So starting out the quarterback position, Derek Carr ended up leading the Raiders to a 12-4 record last year in the AFC West, very close to a top 2 seed in the AFC. If I'm not mistaken, Kansas City and New England ended up getting those 2 seeds. And you know, the Raiders were really close. Derek Carr ended up getting hurt, I believe, week 16 with like a broken fibula, and that ended up, you know, throwing their season down the toilet as they couldn't get anything to go with Connor Cook and anybody who could potentially replace Derek Carr, because he was just so vital to that team and their success. But this year, they're trying to revitalize everything and try and rejuvenate a team that was so close to making a deep playoff run. And they got my personal favorite player ever in NFL history, Marshawn Lynch. As you guys may or may not know, I'm an absolutely massive Seattle Seahawks fan. I have been my whole life. And Marshawn Lynch was incredible to watch in Seattle. So I just want to see a little bit of a glimpse of that in Oakland. Hopefully he can stay healthy. That's my biggest concern with Marshawn. And the Oakland's going to have to see how they can get other guys involved, because Marshawn is not the workhorse he used to be. It'll be interesting. I'm assuming Elijah Wood from North Carolina, a guy that they drafted in the 7th round this year, will get some touches along with some other guys. Maybe maybe they sign a guy in free agency. Who knows? Again, these roster breakdowns aren't completely finalized. They're going to make some moves between now and September, but I wanted to get into it because I was just so excited about the Raiders and Marshawn Lynch and everything. You know, Marshawn Lynch is the biggest part of it because I'm a huge Lynch fan, and I love seeing him in Seattle and to see him back in the NFL. Regardless of whether or not he can really be as effective as he once was, it's still super exciting to see that guy back in the league. And in Oakland, it's a perfect fit. He doesn't have to play my Seahawks, and we're all good. So going into the receiving core for Oakland, this is something that actually was pretty interesting to me, because if you look kind of at the depth that they have, it's nothing too crazy. They do have Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree, who are two really top and reliable, solid receivers for Oakland, but it kind of drops off a little bit after that. I don't know, Oakland Raiders fans out there, you guys are crazy supportive of your individual organization, and that's a big reason why this video last year and the last 2 years has been very successful, because you guys love watching these types of videos and giving me feedback. So please give me feedback on a guy like Seth Roberts, a guy that I haven't really seen play a lot, because I'm assuming he's going to have to play a pretty big role in the receiving core for Oakland this year, given the fact that Cordero Patterson has really shown that he's not an excellent pass catcher, but he may have to, have to be a better pass catcher for Oakland to have success this year, because I don't know if you can handle it, if Crabtree and Cooper can handle the entire load for Oakland in the air. But fortunately, they do have some good tight end options. So you have Jared Cook that they brought in from Green Bay, a veteran tight end with good receiving experience. Clive Walford was a guy that a lot of Oakland Raiders fans, when I made this video last year, were really high on. Didn't do much last year, kind of like I expected, although a lot of guys were really high on him and really were confused as to why I didn't really say much on him, and he didn't really produce that much, but I guess he still has time for sure, only in the league, I think, 1 year. So we'll see if he breaks out on the NFL scene and becomes one of the top tight ends. Who knows? Cooper Helfet, they ended up picking up Cooper Helfet from Seattle. I did notice that, which is interesting. So they got plenty of tight ends if for whatever reason they want to use a variety of them. Lee Smith in game and Madden is always known as a crazy run blocking player. So we'll see how they use all these tight ends. Definitely, obviously, this isn't realistic. They're not going to maintain 7 tight ends on their actual roster, but these are the guys that they technically have on the roster still. So going into the offensive line unit for the Oakland Raiders, a unit that was arguably the best in the NFL, only second to what most people would say are the Dallas Cowboys, although it's very debatable. Dallas just had a tremendous run blocking team, but Oakland arguably a better pass blocking unit. I mean, these guys were just monsters for Derek Carr, and the run game was not bad for Oakland as well, but they were extremely successful. You have Donald Penn, Osemele Hudson, Jackson, and I believe Austin Howard, right tackle. So they don't really need to make too many moves with their offensive line, which is really important when you're trying to make a run at the playoffs. You saw how successful Dallas was when they were able to get their offensive line unit together. I would expect if Oakland can maintain a healthy offensive line for them to continue to have a bunch of success, even in such a tough division in the AFC West. Now moving on to the defensive side of the football, you have arguably the face of the Oakland Raiders franchise in Khalil Mack, only been in the league for I think 2 or 3 years, and this guy is an absolute animal, as any Oakland Raiders fans will tell you. Absolutely crazy, versatile player defensively, can even drop in a little bit of coverage, but obviously he's known for his incredible pass rushing abilities, strength, speed. He has it all, really. 6'3", 252 pounds, and just an absolute animal. I mean, teams have to game plan for Khalil Mack in order to stop him. Mario Edwards Jr., if they can get some more help opposite of Khalil Mack, wherever he does line up for Oakland, obviously it would make a huge difference, because Oakland, I think they did give up quite a few points last year. I'm not positive on that, but I know that there were times where they obviously wanted to be more effective defensively in some ways, and it kind of shows with the interior defensive line and the guys that they got, because Dan Williams ended up jumping ship and leaving Oakland. I don't know if it was the end of his contract or if he was just a free agent, but they are very young in the interior defensive line, so we'll see how that works out. And Mario Edwards is very young as well, so they got a very young defensive unit here that is going to have to grow up and play really pretty solid, because defense wins championships, and I think really Jack Del Rio is a defensive-minded coach, being a previous defensive coordinator for Denver. And, I think that they will have some success for sure. They got plenty of talent there, but they might have to make a couple moves in free agency. We'll see. I don't know if there's a lot of guys out there for them, but, that's why they drafted Eddie Vanderdoes out of UCLA to help in that interior defensive line, and then we'll get into the secondary. So, just past Bruce Irvin, former Seattle Seahawk, another guy that Oakland can really help, or can really help Oakland with the pass rush ability. And I think they do have some good depth in terms of rushing the quarterback. I really do think that. Coming up on another guy that I think can really help them in Shalik Calhoun. But right here, middle linebackers, Ben Heaney, Corey James. Those guys are really young players. Again, this is a really young defensive team, so we'll see where the leadership comes into play at the linebacker position, because that's very vital, as they ended up losing Malcolm Smith to San Francisco, and he was a little bit of an experienced linebacker that I don't even think he was actually that good with Oakland. And you guys, I might be wrong about that. I don't think Oakland fans were that frustrated about losing Malcolm Smith, but maybe you guys can tell me otherwise. Jelani Jenkins, Shalik Calhoun, James Cowser. I actually don't know if Aldon Smith is even cleared to play. I think he was still having trouble actually playing for Oakland. I don't think this roster is actually correct on everything, so some of those things will be incorrect. But Shalik Calhoun, Jelani Jenkins, I'm assuming Jenkins will be the guy if they run a 4-3 to be the actual kind of guy in coverage. Shalik Calhoun is a pass rusher, so we'll see how that ends up working out for Oakland in their rotational system. The cornerback position is pretty solid in my opinion. I mean, when I compare it to my Seattle Seahawks, I like what they got, especially because I love their length. Seattle is kind of a Seattle thing. The 6-foot frame, the lengthy frame. Everybody's 6 foot. They probably all have 32.5-inch arms like Seattle does, basically, with all their cornerbacks. That's like a mark their cornerbacks have to hit, and it looks like Oakland's following a sort of that type of prototype. Gary Conley from Ohio State, nice length. David Anderson had a good year, and it's Sean Smith as well. So they got some good players at the cornerback position, which will help them for sure in this upcoming season. Reggie Nelson getting up there in age, but again, they like that experience. They need that experience for sure, especially to teach these younger guys. You have Carl Joseph, and they just drafted Obi Melifonwu from UConn. Incredible athletic ability. I really was interested to see if Seattle would end up picking him. But there really isn't a lot of space for him to be on Seattle. He would just kind of be a backup or somehow play another safety role somehow with Cam Chancellor in the box. It would have worked out in a crazy fashion, but I ended up kind of liking what Seattle did either way. And Oakland got a really good player out of it. I think 6'4", great frame, extremely versatile in his ability at that height and his athleticism. So if he can stay healthy, could be a tremendous asset for Oakland defensively, especially on that back end where teams struggle a lot of times. In Oakland, I actually think they have really nice. I mean, their talent defensively in the secondary is actually really good, to be quite frank. Carl Joseph, Obi Melifonwu, Reggie Nelson getting up there again in terms of age, but I actually kind of like this secondary for Oakland. I think that they could be pretty solid next year. if they stay healthy and try and continue to improve. Special teams unit for Oakland is also really good. Sebastian Janikowski and Marquette King. Marquette King is probably the best punter in the league, and Janikowski is a little bit underrated considering how long he's been in the league. Still can really boom it from like 60 plus. So Oakland's got some extremely talented players on their roster and are primed for a Super Bowl run in the AFC. Although they're in an extremely difficult division in the AFC West, I look for this organization to make a deep run in the playoff this year as long as they stay healthy. And that's a big if because the NFL is just crazy. But hopefully, for their sake, Derek Carr at least can stay healthy throughout this season so that Oakland can try to be as successful as possible. Also, I'm looking for Marshawn Lynch to bring a ring for Oakland before they end up leaving to Las Vegas, because that's going to kind of suck for a lot of those Oakland fans out there and a lot of you guys watching this. So that will be the conclusion of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more of these roster breakdowns. Definitely going to be coming out with more of these NFL teams in the future. But Oakland was extremely fun to do, and I'm really wishing anybody who's an Oakland fan luck this season. I really hope you guys have a lot of success, and looking forward for Oakland to dominate in the AFC this year. Once again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and yep, thanks for watching.